Hello Steelers, and welcome to another Bench Report hobby update. I missed one last week, I do apologise for that, but we're back on track now. I was away for work, I'll talk about that later on. But I've had some fantastic news this week whilst I was watching my subscriber list go up, and it actually hit over 15,000 subscribers last week. I was so chuffed. I think it was about Tuesday or Wednesday, can't remember exactly when, but it just ticked over. It was sitting on 14,999 for a long time. So I am absolutely over the moon by that. It's brilliant, and I want to say thank you massively to everybody who does subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, a lot of people who do watch this channel don't actually subscribe. You can just do it for free. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button down the bottom, and it just really boosts my algorithms here on YouTube and gets these videos in front of more people. And honestly, I can't say how over the moon I am. When I started this channel back in 2019, so 6 years ago, just over 6 years ago now, I was happy if I had 15 subscribers, never mind 15,000. So I'm really chuffed, and like I say, it's a really massive thank you to everybody who does subscribe, and everybody who, of course, who watches and comments on these videos. I absolutely love it. It's brilliant, and it's been such a great journey as well. It's really improved my wargaming, and just also helped me improve my video content as well over time. So that was fantastic, really good. I had a little celebration down the week. Once again, as I say, just massive thank you for everybody who does hit that subscribe button when I ask you to. It really makes any video content maker chuffed when their numbers go up. So do it for every other channel you watch as well as this one. So as I say, I was away for work the week before last, so I wasn't able to really get much painted because I was away from, I think it was Monday through till Wednesday down in Wales. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on because there was some interesting stuff we saw whilst down there. But this week I turned back to the old epic stuff, the Waterloo stuff, and again I'm so close at this point to actually finishing off some of those boxes, the British and the French boxes. I did hope I'd get them done within the first 6 months of this year. That's looking less likely now because I've had other things come up as always. But it means that I am working solidly towards finishing, and I finished the first 92nd Gordon Highlanders, Scottish guys. So this is the third of 3 Scottish battalions that came from the box that Warlord sent. Also includes their commander as well, and I went a little mad with these, and I actually even painted some tartan stripes on them, but they're more of a symbol than the actual neat thing. So it's something that you can kind of just see out the corner of your eye rather than actually looking at them in any neat detailed way. Also as well included in that box set were another set of skirmishers. These are the 95th rifles, so I did 2 bases of those. That gives me now 6 bases of 95th rifle skirmishers, along with the 6 or more boxes, 6 or more redcoat skirmishers that I also have as well. But that was just nice to finish those off. I just thought that was a really nice, easy, simple little job just to finish off that box of stuff. I've now got 2 British battalions left to paint. I think I've earmarked those already as the King's German Legion, so they're going to be painted as those. Not that there's much difference in the uniforms between those and the other British units at Waterloo anyway. But it's just to give me some historical units to work towards. And I've also got, I think it's 2 French battalions left to paint as well from the original box sets. So I'm going to start working on the next French one because I like to swap between British and French just to keep things interesting, as you do these days, The other thing as well I turned my attention to this has been inspired actually by John Savage. He posted some pictures of some British ammunition wagons for his game of GDA 2 at Hearts of Lard, which I think was last weekend, and I hunted down some 15mm ones. These ones are from Old Glory. I think they're exactly the same ones that John got, but he's is in 28mm. But I just did these from Old Glory. I got them in the post actually this week, and to be fair to Old Glory, they were incredibly fast. I think I ordered them and they were with me within a day or a day and a half. So they were finished, nice and easy to paint up, and they'll stand in as caissons for the British or for GDA2 basically. I probably don't need more than a couple of them, I don't think, in any game, so that's all that sorted. I think they're possibly slightly bigger than the 15mm figures that I'm using with the Epic, but they're pretty big wagons anyway, so I can't really see much difference, and I think they're going to be fine on the table, to be perfectly honest. And yes, I did base them because they're vehicles, and all vehicles should be based, as you know. And of course, whilst I've been away, I have managed to get a few things in the post as well. One of the things I got was, I've been looking into LaSalle 2. Really enjoy reading it. It's a really nice read, and also some really interesting rules in there. I will do a review of it at some point, and I'm going to do a battle report of it as well at some point, because I can use the battalions that I've got from the Epic stuff, so it's a really nice way of just being able to use different rules with the same figures. But what I did was, they use base labels. You can do it with dice or other tokens and things, but I actually put together some of Sam Mustafa's original base labels. These are a free download anyway on the Honor website, so I thought I'm not breaking any copyright rules. And what I did, I put them into Word documents, resized them so they're 60mm long, which is the size of the bases that I need. Then sent these off to Docs Direct, and I got them printed, and then I've laminated them. I haven't cut these out yet, but I'm going to cut them all out, and it means I can use a dry white pen on them. What I will do I have put these into my Google Drive, so what I will do is I will put a link to these in the Google Drive down below. It's only the stuff for the 1815 campaign, because I didn't want to do everything, but basically I've kind of made a few numbers of the different kinds of bases. So like, for example, the French infantry, you've got 8 veteran on each sheet, so you only need to probably print the sheets out once or twice just to get loads and loads of base labels. So what I'll do is I'll stick a link to that down in the description down below, so you can have a copy of those yourselves and download them. As I say, because Sam had already released the Army Builder book as a free thing, I don't think there's a copyright issue with it. I did post it in the Sam Mustafa Facebook page, and there was no comebacks from that anyway, so I think we're all clear there. The other thing that came in the post as well was this. This is from Early War Miniatures. This is an anti-tank ditch. Now, it's not actually on their website, but I knew they made it because Dex had got one. You have to contact Paul himself. I think they're still rebuilding their website after the great website crash of whenever it was, 2023 or whenever it was. This is an anti-tank ditch. It is essentially 20mm, but a ditch is a ditch is a ditch. So this will be big enough for 15mm stuff. You've got basically quite a few lengths there, and I think it's about 4 foot, 5 foot thereabouts. It's made from vac foam plastic, and of course you've got some bends and things in it as well. There's also some anti-tank obstacles you can stick on there as well, and all the instructions as well that come with it, which I've got here as well. This all came from Paul down at EWM, and very kindly Paul also sent over some shell holes as well, 30 of them. Now, I do have about 60 of these things already, but you can never have enough shell holes, can you? But I just want to say thank you massively to Paul and the crew down there at EWM. Go and check out their stuff. They have some really good, interesting ranges of figures, and also lots of scenery. And they do have the best, as far as I'm concerned, trenches that you can buy for the First World War anyway. And they are 20mm, but I say, I use mine with 15mm, and they work perfectly fine. Okay, so what have I played? Well, as I say, it's been a couple of weeks, so I've actually managed to play quite a lot of stuff. Well, last Friday, instead of recording a video, an update video, I actually recorded a game of Waterloo. I wanted to do this a couple of weeks ago, but I fell ill, so I was unable to do it. So I went back and I set up the mean streets of Mega City 1, Judges Dredd and Hershey versus a Juve gang armed with various spit pistols. And I just played it through, really, just to see how it works. decks, and I think it worked quite well. Really enjoyed it. As I say, What a Cowboy is such a great game. Dean and I played the What a Cartel version the other day, and this is basically a version that I've been writing, you know, intermittently, just adding a few ideas down on paper really, and just testing it out. And I see it seemed to work. I was quite happy with it. But that is a video that will be coming out way out in the future at some point, so do keep an eye out for that. But it's still in the editing suite, so it's not going to happen just yet, but it will do. So, playing, I also played a game as well with Dean as well. This is a couple of weeks ago. I'd almost forgotten about this, but this was Dean's What a Cartel, set in the Mexican drug wars. This is something he's been working on for a few years now, putting together the forces. Even though there's only a few of them, it would have taken me a weekend, but that's Dean for you. This was based on, again, What a Cartel from John Savage. He sent me the rules, so we were looking at those, and Dean had made a few changes just to add into it. And this was just a tester game, really. It's the first time that Dean has ever played What a Cowboy or any of the other derivatives of it, and he really enjoyed it. Basically, I was the Mexican army, he was the banditos. I needed to get into the village to offload a load of narcotics and get off the table. I drove my Humvee straight down into the town, but got hit by an RPG which brewed it up immediately. However, I give them something to think about, and I did actually hammer quite a lot of their foot soldiers at least, but in the end I had to pull out because I just didn't have the time or the space to get the narcotics, not without a Humvee anyway. And also my aerial officer had been killed as well in the firefight, so I was unable to bring in the chopper, which I had as a spare as well. But it was a great game, really good, and as I say, Dean really enjoyed it. He really liked the mechanics of What a Cowboy, or What a Cartel in that case, and just thought it was great. So we are going to go back to it at some point, and I think he's chomping at the bit to do so. Then last week, not the week just gone, the week before, I played Arcs down at the club with Dex. It was an introductory game for Dex. We weren't really bothered about who was winning. Spoiler, I absolutely kicked his arse, but that wasn't the point. It was about learning how to play the game for Dex and just basically going through, you know, the moves and things. He wants to play it again, so that's a good thing. So we're going to play it next week, I think, because it's a nice, easy, you know, box set just to take down. And if you're interested in, you know, science fiction style board games which aren't just about combat but also about diplomacy and court shenanigans, it's well worth checking out. I'm thinking of doing a review of it. Board game reviews don't always go down so well on this channel, but if there's enough interest for it, let me know, because I think it's a fantastic game, and it offers quite a lot to wargamers as well, just because it has quite a lot of nuance and layers within it. So let me know if you want to see a review of that, and I will put one together if that's the case. Then, just gone this week at the club, Dex and I, once again, we played Chain of Command 2. We went back to the Pacific, but early war Pacific, and the battle for Wake Island. Now this is a combat that I've wanted to play for a long time. It's something that's always kind of been a bit of an interest. It's a very small, contained fight. The Japanese attacked on the December the 11th, 1941. They were repulsed by the USMC, and then they attacked again on the 23rd of December 41. They captured it. Now, going into this game, I thought it was going to be like December the 23rd, 1941. Turns out it wasn't. It was more like December the 11th, 1941. But it started out really good. This is what we call hubris. I started really aggressive, and I pushed right in to capture the two objectives of the small hut and also the control tower of the airfield as well. I got right up to them, really close up, with what I told Dex was a scout team, but it wasn't. It was a jitter party. He didn't know this, but he'd not fired at it, otherwise it would have just disappeared. But I was able to deploy a unit from it, using it as a scout, because we weren't too sure, but I think in the rules it says they operate as scout units, so scouts for the Japanese can deploy units if you spend chain of command points. I got right up, but he was giving me some right hammer from his 30 cal, and then also from some dug-in infantry as well. And then he managed to destroy one of my sections, which I'd actually brought in as a support, pushed them back, so they ran away. But I was still holding the objective around the airfield until He deployed a couple of his sections and then went straight into close combat, and there was some right argy-bargy, and I repulsed his first attack, but his second attack, after he pinned me, went in and destroyed another, and they actually surrendered. It's one of the few times that we've actually had surrendering troops, and it was a surrendering Japanese as well. By this point, unfortunately, although I'd worked my way around with a scout team on my left flank, I just didn't have the numbers really. I triggered the final countdown. Somebody had previously asked about the final countdown. We misread it in a previous game, and basically it's when you capture an objective is the time that you can trigger the countdown. So what I'd also misread as well, or I'd forgotten, is that it needs a full chain of command dice. It doesn't. It only needs 3 chain of command points. I'd had 3 chain of command points for a long time, but I was on 5, and I was waiting for that extra chain of command point for that dice, thinking that the final countdown could only be triggered once I got the full dice. So I basically wasted phases and phases and phases just trying to wait for those chain of command dice, and I could have possibly ended the game earlier. I very possibly won it. As it happens, I did trigger it, but we had 2 phases left of the final countdown. I was down to 2 dice, command dice, so there's no way I was rolling 3 6s. But I basically conceded it just because I knew I didn't have enough forces or time to get across and capture the objective out of Dex's hands. He'd already recaptured it, so basically it was, rather than the 23rd of December, it was more like the 11th of December. Brilliant game though, absolutely fantastic, right down to the wire, and as always, chain of command, as Dex said, is the dog's bollocks. And just to mention it as well, because of my 15,000 subscribers, Dex presented me with these, some patrol markers with Storm of Steel on the side. When you flip them over where they're locked, it says 15,000 on the other side. So thank you very much, Dex. That was a really lovely, thoughtful little gift to add into the game as we were playing it. Brilliant stuff. So I mentioned it previously, we went down to Wales for a work meeting, and we went to Brecon and also to Sennybridge as well, the training area, to have a look around and look at some of the archaeology and list of buildings that are there, as well as part of just a walk around really, and a site familiarisation for the team, and also just for a get together as well, as much as anything else, and the team meeting. Whilst we were there, we went to the Royal Welsh Regimental Museum as well, which is housed at Brecon Beacon's barracks, and is well worth going. It's also in the cathedral as well. It has a lot of the South Wales border as well, actually the 24th foot stuff from the battles of Isandlwana and also Rorke's Drift. It even has the flag that was flying above Rorke's Drift. It has a huge diorama of Rorke's Drift. It has loads and stuff, loads of bits and pieces from the Zulu side, so knobkerries and the I don't know what they call them, the headgear that they wore, but also shields as well that were picked up. And then also in the cathedral as well is the flagpole of the flag that was lost at Isandlwana as well by the 24th foot. It was picked up long after the battle. The flag had disappeared, but the flagpole is there, along with other flags as well of the 24th and South Wales borderers. It's well worth a visit. As I say, really enjoyed it. There's some fantastic stuff in there. There's a really good armoury as well, with plenty of weapons in there. There's a smallish First and Second World War museum, part of the Royal Welsh Museum, but the main section is given over to that Anglo-Zulu War, and it's in one full room, absolutely full of it. You could spend quite a lot of time looking at all the bits and pieces in there, and as I say, some really, really great things. So go and check it out if you're ever in Wales. It's over in Brecon. It's well worth a visit. It's just well worth having a look. There's a great bookshop as well in Brecon. This is worth looking at, and it had a fantastic military history section, really good Napoleonic section, and a really good First World War section. So there's a couple more tips for you. Right, pretty much a bumper catch up after a couple of weeks because it's been pretty busy. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have done, as always, hit the subscribe button. I am now over 15,000 subscribers, but every single one helps, gets me up to 20,000. That's my next goal. Thanks for watching. As always, if you do want to help out the channel in any monetary way, you can do by joining Patreon and or also the channel memberships. Links are down below in the description as ever. All the money generated from that just goes back into making videos anyway, and it just helps keep the lights on here at Steel Towers. Right, I'll leave it at that, and I will see you in the next Storm of Steel video.